past 2 years, the Detroit Lions have undergone an offensive revolution, largely driven by the presence of a young and talented running back, Jahmyr Gibbs. From the moment he was selected in the 2023 draft, Gibbs quickly emerged as one of the most exciting prospects in the NFL. However, what seemed to be the start of a successful career in Detroit is now transforming into a situation where Gibbs' departure seems inevitable. The question many Lions and NFL fans are now asking is, how do we get to this point, and what does Gibbs' departure mean for the future of the team? When Jahmyr Gibbs arrived in Detroit, he was seen as the piece that would complete the team's dynamic offense. With the addition of David Montgomery, the team had two complementary running backs, with Gibbs being the more explosive one, focused on quick plays in the passing game, while Montgomery was the more physical back, responsible for power runs. Gibbs' nickname, Sonic, reinforced this image of a speedy player capable of stretching the field and capitalizing on shorter, faster runs. However, what few anticipated was that he would become much more than that. Gibbs quickly proved to be far beyond just a speed back, showcasing an adaptability and a running ability in tougher situations that exceeded expectations. But then what happened that led to a possible separation between Gibbs and the Lions? The answer is multifaceted and involves a combination of on-field and off-field factors. Let's begin by analyzing how Gibbs' rise within the team was interrupted by financial and strategic issues for the franchise. During his first full season in 2024, Jahmyr Gibbs impressed everyone by taking on a larger workload than many had expected. With David Montgomery injured at the end of the season, Gibbs had to step up as the Lions' lead back, and he did not disappoint. For example, in Week 18, he had an incredible performance, rushing 29 times for 139 yards and 3 touchdowns. To top it off, he also recorded 5 receptions for 31 yards and 1 more touchdown. This type of performance not only showcased Gibbs' versatility, but also made it clear that he could be the player the franchise needed to lead the offense in the years to come. However, Gibbs' rise came at a price. While the running back showed he was capable of taking on increasingly important roles within the Lions' offensive system, the financial reality of the NFL soon came into play. With increasing market value for running backs like Saquon Barkley, who recently signed a 2-year deal worth $41.2 million with the Philadelphia Eagles, it became clear that signing an elite running back like Gibbs would require a significant financial investment from any franchise. In other words, the question of market value for Gibbs quickly became an obstacle for the Lions. With 2 years remaining on his rookie contract, Gibbs still has a certain financial advantage, but it's inevitable that he will become one of the most sought-after running backs in the league in the coming years, especially with his rising performance. This puts the Lions in a delicate position. They will have to decide whether to offer Gibbs a contract that aligns with the market for elite running backs, which could compromise the team's financial flexibility, or if they should seek an alternative to maintain the team's competitiveness in the future without overburdening the salary cap. It's a complicated situation, as a contract like Saquon Barkley's for Gibbs would be a considerable long-term investment, something the franchise may not be willing to make. Gibbs' performance in 2024 certainly didn't go unnoticed by other NFL franchises. The way he was able to take on a larger workload during Montgomery's absence and still produce impressive numbers made Gibbs one of the most valuable running backs in the league, and the offers for his future contract may be irresistible. This raises the question, will Detroit be able to keep Gibbs in their plans long-term? Or is Gibbs' departure an inevitable move, given the financial potential he will bring to any team that acquires him? With the rising expectations around Gibbs and his impressive production, it's possible he will become one of the highest-paid running backs in the league in the coming years. The type of contract he can negotiate will largely depend on his performance and how he continues to stand out in the next seasons. Additionally, the question of Gibbs' physical wear and tear, a constant concern for any running back who accumulates many carries and receptions, may also play an important role in future contract negotiations. The reality is that running backs generally have a shorter shelf life than other positions, and teams are typically reluctant to invest large amounts in long-term contracts for players at this position. On the other hand, Gibbs' performance during the period when Montgomery was out cannot be ignored. Not only did Gibbs stand out in running situations, but he also showed great skill as a receiver, something that is increasingly valued in modern NFL offenses. In an era where running backs need to be more than just ball carriers, Gibbs proved to be a crucial piece not only in the ground game but also in the passing game, where he registered an impressive 104 receptions for 833 yards and 5 touchdowns in his first 2 seasons. This type of versatility is critical, especially when it comes to keeping an offense unpredictable and dynamic, which is why Gibbs is so valuable. With all these factors in mind, The decision for the Lions to let Gibbs go seems to be a reflection of the financial and strategic reality of the NFL. The franchise may not be willing to commit its financial flexibility to a high-level running back contract, especially when there are other areas of the team that need attention and resources. Moreover, with other teams capable of offering more money or more favorable conditions for Gibbs, it's a difficult situation for the Lions. If Gibbs does indeed leave, he will likely continue his rise with another franchise. Whether with a rebuilding team that needs a star running back to lead the offense, or with a competitive team looking for a player who can make a difference in key moments, Gibbs has all the attributes to become a legendary player at his position. His ability to run, his explosiveness in the passing game, and his field vision are rare qualities, making him an invaluable asset to any team that can secure him. The financial dynamics of the NFL also play a crucial role in this situation. The salary cap structure, combined with the rising market value of running backs, means that teams are often forced to make tough decisions when it comes to long-term investments. For the Lions, retaining Gibbs could mean having to sacrifice resources that could be allocated elsewhere on the roster. This dilemma is particularly challenging when considering the growing trend of teams opting for committee backfields rather than relying on a single-star running back. While Gibbs' talent is undeniable, the Lions may prioritize long-term flexibility over securing a massive contract for a player at a position that historically sees a decline in production as players age. The departure of a player like Gibbs would also have an impact on the Lions' offensive identity. Over the past 2 seasons, the team has built an offensive system that heavily relies on the skill set of their running backs, with Gibbs playing a crucial role in that scheme. Losing such a dynamic player would force the Lions to reevaluate their offensive strategy and potentially look for a replacement that can offer similar versatility. Whether through the draft or free agency, the team would have to find a way to maintain the balance between the running and passing game that has been so effective in recent years. Meanwhile, the Detroit Lions will have to deal with the consequences of this potential loss. The team will need to focus on keeping the roster competitive and finding ways to replace Gibbs' production, which certainly won't be easy. But as is often the case in the NFL, changes are inevitable, and teams must adapt to the new market realities. If you want to stay up to date on the latest news regarding Jahmyr Gibbs' future, his departure from the Lions, and much more about Detroit's future, be sure to follow our channel. Here at Lions News Fan Report, we bring you the most detailed and up-to-date analyses to keep you informed about everything happening with the team.